So the first stitch we are trying today is the fishbone stitch. So there's some examples on this little sampler here. So I've done one with the 6 ends of embroidery floss and one with 3, but it looks really nice with pearl cotton as well, and even tapestry yarns as well if you want to experiment. And you can do quite narrow leaves or really quite thick leaves like there are on this one here. So what I've done here is I've drawn out with pencil a leaf shape with a line down the middle, and I've threaded up just so you can see clearly how the stitch is constructed. I'm just using 3 ends of thread on this example here. So I'm going to start at the top point of my leaf, and I'm going to come up and do a stitch about halfway down the leaf. And doing this straight stitch here to start with just gives the top of the leaf some shape, which you'll see more as we go along. So I've gone from top to halfway down, and now I'm going to come up on the right hand side of the leaf, and I'm going to come over to the left hand side of that line. This line also gives you a good sort of angle for your stitch direction, because if you sort of only cross a little bit, it ends up as really quite a shallow leaf. But again, you can play around with that angle, because you can see here on this one I did do it quite horizontally rather than too vertically, so it takes a lot more of filling the stitch up there. As you can see the lines are sort of at this angle, whereas on other ones I've gone for a steeper angle down. So again, that's something you can play with as well. So I'm going to come over to the left hand side of that line, and now I'm going to come up to the left edge of the leaf and go over the right hand side of that middle line, and then I go back up to the right hand side and cross to the left hand side of this line. So soon you'll sort of go beyond the line that you've stitched in the middle, so you just know you need to go below the last stitch there. Come up on the left, go over the right of that line or just below your last stitch there. So as it showed on the video on canvas, you can leave more of a gap or have them really close together. And then you just work your way down. Almost looks like it's plaiting in the middle. As you get towards the end, you'll get less of a steep angle as well as you come to the end point. I left a little bit too big of a gap between that one, but it doesn't matter too much. I could always go back. And then you get to the end here. And finish that off. So that's the fishbone stitch. Another thing you can try is the heavy fishbone stitch as well. So in which case what we do is, again, you start at the top, can do that line, and then I will go up to the top right hand side But instead of just crossing over the line, I actually go all the way to the outside left edge here. And then I come up to the left-hand outside edge and cross, rather than just here to the right-hand side of the line, I go all the way to the outside edge. So it ends up as a more padded stitch this way. And then over to the outside edge. Some people find this an easier way to actually do the fishbone stitch. You soon start coming up to where you crossed over as well. If you are doing a sampler, you might like to try both these ways here. That. So you carry on to the end and you'll have covered the stitches underneath as well, which just gives a slightly more filled effect than this fishbone stitch there. So that was our 2 ways of doing fishbone, and we'll have a go at back filling stitch now. So you can do a back stitch around the edge and spiral it in, but I may just demonstrate the straight line back stitch filling stitch. So I'm going to do a back stitch down the center, of your leaf or your petal. And then once I've done that, I'm going to go down each side. So what I'll do to save going back up to the beginning is rotate my leaf, and I'm just going to start halfway down and do a back stitch, a staggered back stitch, so it falls between the last few stitches. I can always go back when I come back the other way and do a half stitch or a small stitch to fill in this gap here to get it sort of sit along the edge crisply. So it's a fairly simple stitch, this one. Oops, some thread there. Just a little stitch there at the end. And now I will work down this side, again staggering the stitches. And then once I've filled all this side, I'll go to the other side and fill that in as well. So I've done one side now of this leaf shape in the back stitch, and I've now come back to the center and I'm working down the other side there until I get that side finished as well here. So there, just to finish, to show you, is the back filling stitch, where I've started in the middle and worked either side. If you want to have a go at the spiraling of the back stitch as well, where you work into the middle as well, and then see which you prefer. So that's your back filling stitch. So I am just going to demonstrate the coral stitch on a few of these stems here. So we're coming up from the back at point A, and then what we are doing is, if you keep your thread carried over to your left, it's easier to work with. What we're going to do is just pinch a little bit of the fabric. About, you can vary the distance between your knots, but I'm going to go for about 1/2 centimetre there. So I've pinched a little bit either side of my line, and then what I'm going to do is take the thread over the needle and wrap it underneath there. So that's after I've pinched a little bit of the fabric there, if you can see. So I've pinched a bit of the fabric over and under, and then I'm going to pull through my thread, and you get a little kind of knot on your work. And then I'm going to do that again. So I'm just kind of keeping the thread held to the left and or below my work a little bit there. I'm going to pinch a little bit of the fabric, take my needle over and under, pull it through, and again over and under, over and under the needle, and pull it through. Pinch bit of the fabric, over and under, and pull it through. So you just get this bit of texture going down your stem there. Then I can just finish off. So I'll just go over that again here. So I come up at point A, I keep my fabric down and out, sorry, my thread down and out the way, and I will pinch a little bit of the fabric like that with the needle, and then take my thread over and under and give that a pull, pinch a bit of the fabric over and under, and pinch a little bit of the fabric with my needle, and then over and under. And is your coral stitch.